Something is different at Heartland, and everyone can feel it. After the chaos of the poison mystery, episode 7 begins with a tension so heavy that even the horses sense it. A silence hangs over the ranch, one that isn't peaceful, but warning. Because just when Amy thinks the worst is behind her, episode 7 reveals that the real danger is only beginning. Episode 7 opens with a shift in the air, subtle but unmistakable. Heartland is still recovering from the shock of the poisoning, and although the culprit has been caught, the damage ripples through every corner of the ranch. The peace that once defined the land now feels fragile, almost temporary, like a thin layer of ice waiting to crack. Amy wakes early, long before sunrise, unable to shake the feeling that something is about to change. As she walks into the barn, Spartan lifts his head, responding to her presence with a soft, tired whinny. His recovery is slow, and even though the worst has passed, Amy still watches over him like a guardian afraid to blink. Jack notices her unease and asks if she's all right, but Amy just forces a smile. Deep down, she knows it isn't over. There's something about Clayton's final message, something about the symbol painted on the barn door that she hasn't been able to ignore. No one knows what it means yet, but Lou has been quietly collecting information behind the scenes, trying to connect it to Clayton's business partners. The more she investigates, the more she realizes there's a bigger network at play, and the attack on Heartland wasn't just an isolated attempt at sabotage. But Lou doesn't want to overwhelm Amy again, not while Spartan is still healing, so she keeps it hidden. For now. Meanwhile, Amy's work life is slowly resurfacing. A few old clients cautiously return, hoping to see if Amy is truly back. Their trust is fragile, like standing near the edge of a cliff, unsure of whether the ground is stable or ready to collapse again. Amy handles each horse with extreme care, trying to rebuild her reputation one step at a time. But even while she works, part of her mind drifts back to Nathan and the painful mess he left behind. His departure still stings, especially because it happened right when Amy needed him most. It's Lindy who feels the absence the hardest. She asks about him constantly, wondering when he will come back to teach her riding lessons, or fix the small wooden horse he promised to repair. Amy doesn't know how to answer. She only tells her daughter that sometimes people need time to figure out what's right. But fate doesn't wait for anyone to be ready. Later that afternoon, as Amy is tending to Spartan, a truck pulls into Heartland, the kind of arrival that makes Jack walk out with his guard raised. The door opens and Nathan steps out, his face weary, his eyes full of guilt, and something else, something darker, as if he knows something he's afraid to say out loud. Amy freezes. She wasn't expecting him so soon, especially not after leaving without a goodbye. Jack's jaw tightens, Lou crosses her arms, and even Tim senses the tension from across the yard. Nathan walks toward Amy slowly, carefully, as if approaching a wild horse that might bolt at any second. He apologizes, not just for leaving, but for not telling her the truth about Clayton's operation. He explains that the symbol painted on the barn isn't just a warning. It's a claim someone higher in the chain is marking Heartland as unfinished business and they want control of the land one way or another. The poisoning was just one attempt. More will come. Amy's stomach sinks. The idea that Heartland is still in danger fills her with cold dread. Jack immediately demands names, details, anything Nathan knows. But Nathan reveals he doesn't have everything yet. He left because he wanted to track down the man behind the operation, the real mastermind pulling the strings, and episode 7 begins just as he's uncovered the first piece of that puzzle. He came back not just to warn Amy, but to protect Heartland. And to protect her. Amy doesn't know whether to believe him. Her trust in him is cracked but not broken, not completely, and that scares her more than anything. As evening falls, shadows stretch across the ranch. Heartland seems calm, but beneath the surface lies a storm waiting to break the symbol on the barn, Nathan's return, and the whispers of a bigger threat create a sense of dread that grows with every minute. Episode 7 begins not with healing, but with the realization that the true enemy has finally stepped into the light. Heartland wakes to another uneasy morning. The air is still, the kind of stillness that always comes before something big, something dangerous. The conversations from last night echo in Amy's mind as she pours feed into the buckets, her thoughts tangled between worry, anger, and doubt. Nathan's return has shaken her more than she wants to admit. Part of her wants to push him away and protect her heart. Another part knows he wouldn't have come back unless the threat was real. Lou calls an emergency family meeting in the kitchen. The table is covered with papers, maps, and printed documents that track land purchases around Hudson. Lou explains that Clayton wasn't working alone. He was only one face in a group that has been trying to take over ranches all across the region. Their strategy is always the same: ruin reputations, force owners into financial strain, then buy their land at a fraction of its value. Heartland was their biggest target yet. If they get Heartland, they get everything: land, water access, and influence. Jack sits back, arms crossed, the weight of the information pressing into him. "So, what we're dealing with isn't just greed," he says. "It's a whole organized plan." Nathan nods and reveals something deeper. There's a man at the center of this group, a silent investor, always hidden behind other names, someone powerful enough that ranchers feel afraid to even say his name. Nathan has only heard whispers: Harper. A name that carries tension like a storm cloud ready to break. Amy listens, her eyes fixed on the table. She feels anger rising inside her, not loud anger, but deep and quiet, the kind that comes from knowing your home is being threatened. But she also feels fear. Whoever this Harper is, he's determined. He marked the barn for a reason. He's not done. Meanwhile, Lindy senses something is wrong. She watches the grown-ups talk in hushed voices and tries to stay close to Amy, afraid that something bad is coming. Kids always sense danger first. When she asks if they're safe, Amy kneels beside her and promises she won't let anything happen to Heartland. But her voice shakes slightly, just enough for Jack to notice later that day. Nathan walks the property with Amy, pointing out the places where he thinks someone may have entered unnoticed. His knowledge surprises her, especially how he can read the land almost as well as Jack. But as they walk, the distance between them becomes clearer. They don't speak about feelings or the pain of the past episode. They focus only on the threat, which somehow makes the silence even heavier. When they reach the north fence line, they stop. On one of the posts is something new, a small carved mark identical to the symbol painted on the barn fresh, not even 24 hours old. Someone has been back. Amy's breath catches in her throat, and for the first time since all of this began, real fear flickers in her eyes. Nathan immediately begins examining the ground for tracks. He finds boot prints, large ones, and tire tracks leading toward the old abandoned logging road. "Someone came close," Nathan says quietly. "Too close." Amy realizes something chilling. This isn't about business anymore. Whoever is behind this wants to intimidate them, watch them, study them. They're not being attacked blindly, they're being hunted with strategy. To make things worse, a call comes from the local feed supplier. Heartland's next supply order was nearly tampered with again, but an employee caught the switch before any damage was done. That means someone is still trying to sabotage them, someone who knows their routines, their schedule, their patterns. Lou decides they can't stay quiet anymore. She wants to alert the authorities, but Jack believes that going public will only provoke whoever is behind this. The argument grows loud until Amy steps in, reminding them that fear is exactly what the enemy wants. They must stay smart, not desperate. That night, Amy lies awake, listening to the quiet sounds of the ranch: Spartan shifting in his stall, the wind brushing the trees, the distant call of an owl. But underneath the natural sounds, she senses something else. Something watching. Outside, a pair of headlights flash briefly at the end of the road before disappearing into the darkness. No one sees it, but the audience does. Someone is keeping their eyes on Heartland. Episode 7 builds not toward peace, but toward the unmistakable truth. Heartland is being targeted, and the real fight has just begun. By the time the sun rises over Heartland the next morning, the unease has already settled into everyone's bones. What happened at the fence line, the fresh symbol carved into the post, has turned the ranch into a place of constant alertness. Every unfamiliar sound makes heads turn. Every shadow feels suspicious. Even the horses behave differently. Sensing the tension in their human companions, Amy tries to focus on work, but her mind refuses to stay calm. She keeps replaying the footprint Nathan found. The tire tracks, the symbol. Someone wasn't just trespassing, they were sending a message. As she leads Spartan out for gentle exercise, she keeps scanning the tree line as if expecting someone to step out at any minute. Spartan pauses several times, his ears flicking back toward the woods. Amy whispers reassurance, but she knows the horse is right to be cautious. Inside the house, Lou continues piecing together information, but now she's worried about more than a business takeover. The name Harper appears in connection with several land disputes, lawsuits, and forced buyouts across the province. Each one leaves behind a pattern of intimidation, anonymous threats, or strange accidents. It's a signature, a silent shadow that destroys from behind the scenes. Lou's hands tremble as she holds the files, and for the first time, she wonders if this is bigger than anything they've ever faced. Meanwhile, Jack tries to keep the family grounded. He sharpens tools, checks locks, inspects the property line, and pretends it's all routine. But when he finds a broken branch near the west pasture, freshly snapped, his heart sinks. Someone was there too. Someone walked the land freely while the family slept. That realization cuts deeper than any physical threat. Amy gathers the family again in the living room. This time, Lindy is there too, sitting beside her mother with wide, worried eyes. Amy explains gently that someone is trying to scare them, but that they won't let fear control their home. Jack adds that Heartland has survived fires, storms, and tragedy before. They'll survive this too. The family nods in unity, but beneath their united front lies the truth. This threat is intelligent, patient, and watching. Nathan returns late in the morning after visiting contacts in town. His face is pale, and when Amy sees him, her heart drops. He reveals that someone matching Harper's description was seen in Hudson 2 nights ago, asking about Heartland, asking about Amy, even asking about Spartan. That alone is enough to make Amy's hands shake. Whoever this man is, he's getting closer. Suddenly, the room fills with the sound of a truck engine approaching fast. Too fast. Everyone rushes outside. A dusty pickup skids to a stop in front of the house. Clint gets out, urgent, breathless. He explains that another ranch just outside Hudson was hit last night. Their barns were vandalized, their horses released into the fields, their feed contaminated, and carved into the wood of their main gate. The same symbol Amy found on the fence post Heartland isn't the only target. This is a chain, and Heartland is next. Amy's voice shakes as she asks the question none of them want to hear. What does he want from us? Clint hesitates. He looks at Nathan, then back at Amy. Power, he finally says, control, and Heartland is the biggest piece on the board. The family is shaken, but there's no time to crumble. Nathan suggests they strengthen security, lock the gates, add cameras, maybe even hire help. Jack doesn't like the idea of Heartland becoming a fortress, but he agrees they can't keep pretending this is ordinary trouble. As they make their plans, Lindy quietly slips outside, unnoticed. She wanders toward the barn, clutching the small wooden horse Nathan once gave her. She whispers to Spartan, telling him she's scared, but that Amy will keep them safe. Her voice trembles. She doesn't see the figure in the distance, hidden among the trees, watching her, watching all of them. Just before Amy returns to the barn, the figure disappears into the woods, leaving behind only crushed leaves and a quiet, lingering threat. That evening, as the sky shifts from gold to deep purple, the atmosphere thickens with dread. Heartland feels the weight of being hunted, and for the first time since this started, Amy realizes something chilling. Harper isn't trying to destroy the ranch. Not yet. He's studying them, measuring them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Episode 7 pushes the suspense to its limit as the shadows around Heartland grow larger, and the family braces for the storm that's coming straight for them. Night falls heavy over Heartland, thicker and quieter than usual, as if the land itself is holding its breath. The lights in the barn flicker softly, the wind brushes against the windows, and every corner feels like it's hiding a secret. The family gathers once again, but this time the room feels different. Tense, alert, almost electric. Something is shifting, and everyone senses it. Amy stands near the window, staring out into the darkness. She wishes she could read the night the way she reads horses. Usually she can sense danger before it arrives, feel a storm coming long before the clouds roll in. But this threat is human. And humans don't follow patterns. They think, they plan, they wait. That makes them unpredictable, and unpredictability scares her more than anything, Jack, sitting in his old wooden chair, watches Amy with the same protective worry he's felt since the moment she came to Heartland as a child. He can see her frustration. He can see the fear hiding deep behind her calm expression. But he also sees her strength. Unbreakable, stubborn, resilient Heartland spirit is tied to Amy's heart, and as long as she stands firm, the ranch will not fall. Nathan returns from the barn and explains that the horses are uneasy. Spartan has been pacing, restless, ears pinned toward the woods. Even the younger horses refuse to settle. Animals always know before humans do. The tension in the barn is a warning. Something is coming. Suddenly, a loud bang echoes from outside. The family freezes. Lindy grabs Amy's hand. Jack moves toward the front door with the steady determination of a man who's lived through decades of storms. When he swings it open, everyone rushes onto the porch. The west pasture gate is wide open. Amy's heart lurches. They had locked everything, double-checked every latch. There is no way that gate opened on its own. Nathan grabs a flashlight and the beam cuts through the darkness, revealing deep boot prints leading away from the ranch. Fresh, heavy, as if the person didn't care about being quiet anymore. This wasn't a warning. This was a message. Lou whispers, "He's letting us know he was here. Again." Before anyone can react, Clint arrives in his truck. He steps out with urgency written all over his face. He explains that Harper has a pattern. He tests boundaries, breaks small things, pushes fear into the cracks of a family until their unity shatters. And once they start fighting among themselves, once the tension becomes unbearable, that's when he moves in for the final blow. Amy refuses to let that happen. Heartland has been built on love and trust. They will not allow their bond to break. She takes a deep breath and tells the family something they didn't expect. "We're not just reacting anymore, we're fighting back." Nathan supports her. He believes Harper wants land, leverage, and control, but he also believes Harper has underestimated Heartland. He has underestimated their history, their grit, their ability to stand as one. And that mistake might be the opening they need. Lou, after hours of digging, finally uncovers a connection even Clint didn't know. Harper doesn't want Heartland because of its land alone. He wants it because of a long, bitter grudge. A business deal Grace Fleming once rejected decades ago left Harper's father bankrupt. The resentment passed from father to son, and now Harper is trying to fulfill a twisted legacy, to take from the Flemings what he believes was taken from him. The motive hits Amy like a punch. This isn't random. This isn't business. This is revenge. As they discuss what to do next, Lindy quietly walks toward the window. Her eyes widen. "Mom, there's someone outside." Amy rushes to her side. In the distance, a small red light blinks from the tree line. A camera. Someone is filming them, watching their reactions, studying their fear. Nathan mutters, "He's starting the next phase." Jack clenches his jaw. He wants a war. Well, he just got one. But before anyone can act, the red light disappears. The woods go still. The ranch becomes silent once more. That silence is worse than the danger. It means Harper has moved on to whatever comes next. As the night grows colder, the family stays awake together. No one wants to sleep. No one wants to leave Amy's side. Heartland becomes a fortress of love and fear mixed together, bracing for a threat they can no longer predict. And as episode 7 approaches its climax, one thing becomes painfully clear. Harper has crossed the line. He's no longer testing them. He's hunting them, and Heartland must prepare for the most dangerous confrontation it has ever faced, one that could change the future of the ranch forever.